You are listening to the Wild Man Podcast.
All right, Josh, if you want to introduce yourself and you guys say your podcast, then we'll say ours.
Absolutely. So this is Josh Goddard. I'm with the Metalomics podcast. I'm one of two.
Mhm. You want me to? I'm David then. I am also two of the Metalomics podcast.
And in case no one knows who we are, I am Jacob, uh, owner of Wild Man Podcast, and this is my lovely co-host. Absolutely love him. He's my brother from another mother. We've been in sync since we've started doing this about 3 months ago. Go ahead, take it away, Seb.
Yeah, I'm Seb from the Wildman podcast.
Oh, you can say dripping. Come on now.
I also play guitar and dripping, yes. And
I didn't know we were allowed to drop our bands in here. Man, I'm David Ingram of Gutsaw then, which is
Nice.
really a West Coast thing. Might not be that big outside the West Coast, but you know.
Oh yeah. And I played in a band called Suicide Silence from about 2002, 2003 to 2006.
Sick, sick. Those guys are very known.
Yeah. Jacob, I don't think I can help myself anymore.
Go for it. Go nuts.
You ever seen the movie Donnie Brasco? You guys familiar with that?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
well, there's a part where Al Pacino says, "I feel like I'm meeting Mickey Mantle." That's how I feel right now. Because Sebastian, you have no idea. Okay, hang on. Let me just. I brought this out. You see this CD case? This big plump CD
Yeah,
case?
yeah, yeah. I can see it.
Okay, so about three sleeves in. I don't know if this is backwards. So we've got disgorged, aborted, and right there is disintegration. So 2003, man, Suicide Silent. This is Garza's. That's Garza's handwriting.
No shit.
Dude,
Yeah.
dripping was so influential to early Suicide Silence. I was on a podcast last year and I brought some notes because I'm a note taker. This is like all of our early influences from Suicide Silence.
Gotcha.
Right at the top, you got Wormed and Dripping.
I can't help but notice Wrench is the biggest
Send
though.
me a picture of that. And you know what? I know you have a CDR. They just re-released, Crow's Nest Records re-released Disintegration, and they re-released a bunch of B-side demos that never came out. I'll send you one. Send me your address.
Oh,
I haven't even opened one yet. I'm not even putting them for sale yet because I want to kind of hold on to them and not to go down the rabbit hole and talk about dripping. I only
please.
open one because like there's a lot of stuff that people reproduce. I don't really care to open it. I'm so over disintegration, but this is actually very neat, right? It's got a DVD, it's got disintegration, and it's got a bunch of B-sides. It's got a demo that's never been released with our vocalist Frank Blakely that was recorded on I don't know if you remember the PC mics. It was like a little stick out of your
Yeah,
PC. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah.
we
Age.
recorded a practice there, and then we have it's actually a double CD. Um, and then it's got like a little bit of a bio and some history, but this has the real copy of Disintegration. So if you have a burnt copy, let me send you one of these. Um, if both you guys want it, I can send both you guys one of these. Just somehow get me your address and I'll ship one out.
Appreciate that, man. I will bring one to Garza. He will lose his goddamn mind. Excuse my
I'll send him
language.
one too. Yeah, yeah. I'll send you guys three. I'll send him and you guys some t-shirts as well. Just shoot me the sizes that you wear.
Dude, thank you so much.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to him about this. He doesn't know we're doing this. Yeah, man, we could go down the rabbit hole. I told David, I warned him, I've warned Jacob, like I've been jittery all week, looking forward to this. Just I'll leave it at this for now, then I can, keep if you don't have an ego, I hope by now, like your ego is getting much bigger. Because seriously, like dripping blew our mind. We get in my car, we're listening to dripping, and we're just like, what is happening? This is the heaviest, nastiest. And then with the 808s and the samples, we're seriously like losing our freaking minds. And our first demo, Suicide Silence, after the first original lineup, I was the second drummer. All I was trying to do is be dripping on drums. And it wasn't until Rick, and I want to talk about this later because I listened to your episode with Rick, which was so much fun. And I'm losing my mind listening, like, why is Rick not bringing up dripping? And there's a good reason because Rick came from a different background. Like, he joined Suicide Silence in 2004, and he came from like more thrash, hardcore. It was Garza, Mitch, me. We were into that really nasty, like Circle of Dead Children and Eternal Suffering and
Circle
dripping.
of Dead Children and Eternal Suffering, we all kind of, I think Eternal Suffering had, they might have had like a year before we started, but we all became like an alliance and we would help each other out. Not that there was much going back then. We would play like shows in front of 15 people. So we would travel up to Boston a lot and upstate New York to Eternal Suffering are my brothers. You know, not only that, you know, we play with them, but we're in Circle of Dead Children. Those guys are great too, you know. And the Red Chord, guy from the Red Chord, you know, he had us over his house when we played up there. I didn't know Garza was into dripping, but I'm always typing because dripping has a YouTube account. And I'm always typing like when he had Devourment, I was like, if you like Devourment, you should check out dripping because we kind of like we were influenced a little bit by Devourment, not a lot, but we took a lot of influence by them, Devourment and Disgorge from Cali, and obviously Ripping Corpse and Mortal Decay, a lot of the Jersey stuff that made us, you know, sound like what we sound like.
That's so cool, man. I had no idea about the history, the overlap between that community. But like all the more reason for you guys to band together, no pun intended, is when you have that limited reach and you're within a certain, geographic area, you share so many things in common. Of course, you're going to lean on each other for support. But yeah, man, I can't wait to talk to Chris about this. David, the three of us were all very, very good friends. We go back a long way, and yeah, he'll lose his mind. And I can't wait to tell him that there's a shirt and a CD coming. So,
I'll drop you my
anyway,
number on the chat. Tell me everybody's sizes, and I'll get you guys this. This is a really rare and it's kind of like it's like an anthology of dripping. I am not letting anybody repress Disintegration because it's been repressed like three different times. But
yeah,
this is really good because it has a pre-production Disintegration without samples, and it's got a song with our first vocalist Frank Blakely, which nobody's ever heard before.
okay. All right, all right. I'm trying to calm down. I've had too much coffee, and now I'm getting hyped up on this. Just real
Yeah.
quick before I shut up, because I know I'm sucking all the wind out of this, but
Do it. Just get it over with.
thank you, David. You're a good partner. I was watching one of your live sets you guys did. It was either last year or the year before. This is part of your revival, your revelation here. But your singer, he said at one point, dripping ran so we could all walk. Ain't that the truth? Oh my God, he said it
Yeah,
so well.
I guess you know like I'm truthfully it's very I'm on the spectrum, so I'm very close to being autistic. I have Asperger's, so for me, I appreciate all the compliments, but I don't really. We're still that, you know, we're still that band getting together in Bruce's basement. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really change. I mean, obviously these days I have to put my foot down with certain things because promoters are real shiesty.
I heard that, man. Well,
But
I
I appreciate the
admire.
compliments a lot. I really, really do, man. They make my day, and I'm glad we were able to do something that was iconic and different because when we did it, you know, we were like, well, I don't think anyone's gonna like this, but we're gonna do it anyways because this is what we like.
It's so real, man. From the hip hop elements, the samples, the guitar work, the acoustic stuff you bring in. It's amazing. I relate. I don't want to, do that thing that a lot of people who are neurodivergent,
One day
myself
we'll get
included.
into the guitar works because they came
Yeah.
out it came out on Ghost Tracks. I was not able to do what I wanted to do on guitars.
Oh, no kidding.
And we recorded on ADAT, so we'll talk another day maybe.
Hell yeah. All right. Sorry, Jacob and David, but thank you. Thank you for
No,
letting me
no,
just
no. You
gush.
warned us. We've been warned.
Great meeting you,
The,
Josh.
the
It's
gush meter
okay.
has gone. Poof.
Like I feel you on that. That's how like when I sat down with the drummer from the Acacia Strain, if you look at it, how my legs are rocking back and forth because I'm trying to contain myself. And like when we got done with the interview, like Vincent walks by, I'm like this, gave him a big old hug. I'm like, oh my fucking God, it's my favorite vocalist of all time. I was like, I had a release. I definitely understand. Like I gave him the hardest time. I was all like this. I've gotten two of you guys, and there's five of them. I said, I'm coming for the rest of you. And Griffith, we haven't like got a solid date, but we're getting him. I said two Iowa boys have to connect. Then I said, I'm coming for Devin after that. Then I looked at Vincent and pointed at him. I said, you're going to be the king that I get and play chess. I'm going to say checkmate, bitch.
No, I feel the same way. When we had Mortal Decay, I was just such a fanboy, just picking these guys' brains. And the funny part is that we came out with the slogan because we were from North Jersey. They came out, a little bit before us, and they were South Jersey's most something, but we were like New Jersey's most brutal. And I remember somebody's like, "Well, what about Mortal Decay?" And I'm like, "Well, they're kings. We're not trying to take anything away from them. Besides, Mortal Decay would be Jersey's most brutal." And I understand, dude. When we had Mortal Decay on our podcast. Jacob knows, dude. I was going down the rabbit hole, just fucking being such a fanboy, asking 1,000 questions.
Shout out to
I'm a fan, so like, if I can tell you this, I'm a fan prior to being anything because I feel that like the industry or our genre or our music, it's changed a lot since social media, and I think a lot of people create these bands and they forget to be fans. They think that they have and not that they don't deserve it, right? I give it up to you that if you created a band on MIDI drums and guitars and now you think you're the shit, that's good. That's a great attitude. Go forward with that. You're gonna get far, right? You believe in your own shit, I'll give it to you. But we came up from a different time.
oh yeah. Shout out to Johnny. I love Johnny. I talked to him. I'm glad you gave us that relationship. Me and Johnny are like message each other every day
He
now.
FaceTimed me last night. We were like talking. He's the best.
Josh, you are muted, brother.
I'm doing that purposefully because I gotta shut up.
You're
David, say
good. Like,
something.
All right. I'm a fan too. And yeah, no. I mean, I agree with everything. I don't have a lot to add. It is funny to hear, like, to think back to when we first started recording music like 20 years ago. And Josh, you were there, and of course, dripping, and like how it was and how different it is. That's really what I'm thinking about right now is like MIDI drums versus like trying to cobble together broken 57s and 58s to record drums.
Right.
That
Well,
was different
David,
life back then.
David, tell the story of when you met the inventor of MIDI.
Oh man, I was thinking about the only time I've ever fanboyed is so I used to be the marketing manager at Manly Labs, if you guys know that company. They make like microphones. You've seen their equipment in every single recording studio you've been in. They make like the massive passive, the very new like compressor. It's like every studio has one. They have to have at least one. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I don't really pay attention. I have like my own little studio setup, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
very outdated. I don't
Oh yeah.
know
And
much
this
about
stuff is too expensive really to have. Like I never even bought any when I worked there because it's like they're EQing it's like $8,000 because it's all tube. But either way, when I worked there, I was at NAM walking around and I ran into the guy who created MIDI, who we don't need to go down the rabbit hole of who these people are, but that was the only time I fanboyed when I ran into him and I was like, because it's like I was an electrical engineering major before that, so I wrote all these papers on how MIDI was created in 1980 to connect all these tools, and I just walked up and was like,
Great. Yeah, no.
I'm like, you're Robert Smith. And he's like, what? And he's like, this is some guy, some engineer that owns sequential circuits. Or he started sequential circuits, got it back later from Yamaha. You started MIDI. And he's like, yes, I did. Nice to meet you. And I'm like, okay. And just walked away, like, I don't know what to do. But that like changed music. That was like every single person in music has used MIDI since he pretty much invented it. So I think I just got in my own head about it. And that was my most fanboy. I don't know why Josh likes that story. Likes human.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm just trying to bring you down to my level of fanboy right now.
I mean, I'm fanboy. You know.
I did it with Ross from Immolation.
Oh,
You know, I had to give him his props. And,
I-
we've been around because I grew up in that area and I've seen Immolation from the come up. But when I was younger, I was just kind of like shy. I wasn't too outgoing to go up to people. So then we played Maryland together. I think they played on a different day and he was just like walking around. I'm walking around. I'm like, what's up, Ross? You're like my fucking hero, bro. And he was just like, really? And he's like, no, let's take a picture, bro. He's so nice, man.
oh,
It's good when people are so nice. Some people are just kind of like weird. I'm not gonna say names. I went up to certain people that I thought that I was a fan of. I still like their music. But they're like, hey, just yeah, well, give me a minute, give me a minute. We're gonna play, like I was like,
mhm.
oh, okay, sorry, I'm not gonna bother you anymore.
hmm.
You know?
It's
Yeah.
funny because I don't think that it's like a fame thing. Because I remember even in like I'm going way back to like middle school, elementary school, I'd meet a kid who I thought was cool and I wanted to get to know him, and they would like cool guy me, and it's like nobody knows you. Like you go to Promenade Elementary, nobody cares, but they'd give me like the limp fish handshake and like oh whatever, like and I think certain people just I don't know they have that trait, and maybe fame inflates it a little bit. It gets exaggerated by fame and renown and all the rest of it. But something about you, Sebastian, that I've loved because I've been listening to a couple of the interviews you've given the past couple of weeks, as well as watching live footage. You're always giving people their flowers, man, and I really appreciate that. That just again reinforces your humility as a person. I think you're sticking to your roots as a fan, as someone who just loves this space, and just wanted to point that out, man. I really appreciate you doing that for all the old heads that probably don't get the recognition that, some of the other folks have gotten.
Yeah, I mean, I think because growing up being like an introvert and maybe resorting to metal and some of these albums to get me by in life, and to me, like these guys are iconic for whatever they did, and a lot of these guys have their lives are in shambles, right? They put out these great albums, but I'm not here to point out anything negative. I want these guys to be remembered, like now that we have the internet, this could forever be tracked. You know what I mean?
Mm.
This history would not be erased or tampered with, like, history that was in books that was changed. So yeah, I mean, truthfully, I think it's like what keeps me going is just like being a fan and respecting people that I love.
Mhm. That's
100%.
awesome.
That's how it should be. Like that's what I think our goal is for the podcast. Like since you've joined, we've had a lot more older generation bands, and that's one thing I love. What we're doing is like we're giving the dudes who didn't get their due back in the day.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We try. We try.
Because like freaking like you could start from the best advice I've ever heard is you start from the bottom. Don't forget where you come from.
Yeah, I mean, you just, this industry, like I said, dripping was not part of. So, in other words, dripping, we came out, we played local shows, we did small little tiny tours, like 2, 3 dates out of state. But it was a real tough time for brutal death metal. So it was kind of like that. And then like when we broke up, somebody uploaded our CD to YouTube, and I think that's how a lot of people discovered us, and which I'm very thankful for. And shit, I lost my train of thought.
Well, if
I
I
don't
could
know what the
jump
fuck my
in,
point was supposed to be. I have no fucking clue, man.
well, just trip out on this. Like, it's just crazy to think that in 2003, like, you're your full length Disintegration ended up in the hands of a bunch of kids in Corona, California. Like, I have no idea how it got out here. I don't know how Chris got it. It's a burned CD. You see that because we're all pirates.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you know,
Napster.
probably to be honest.
Or,
And
uTorrent maybe, you know.
I don't know. That was, like I'm not pretending like I'm some, moral superior, but that wasn't my thing. I was lucky that I had friends that were always finding music, and I was just, the guy behind the wheel, and they're like popping stuff in, and yeah, but
You're the guy that like always like, hey, check this out. I got this new shit, you know?
I was just the recipient. It was
The
Mitch.
digger,
I feel like
right?
it was Garza a lot, yeah, because he'd come up with
Yes.
crazy bands. Some of them good, some of them
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah.
like Mudslinger. I remember he talked about that band for a long time.
And we had like a weird like we didn't know what was gonna happen because we Mario from December Art and Alice, which was like a metalcore band, he did all the high vocals for us. He was a friend of mine. Like I started a lot of bands with him. So we kind of didn't know what it was gonna do, but I knew that we wanted to stick to our format and we didn't care. Like, I remember Bruce when we recorded, he was like, listen, if this just doesn't do anything and it just goes down in history and it just recorded, like that's the goal for us. You know what I mean?
That's so cool. You mentioned Napster. I do want to, use it as an opportunity to just talk about what David and I chat about on our Budding Young podcast. We were in the middle of a two-part series where we're talking about the subscription-based music economy. I'm going to put David on the spot, but I'll give him a quick second to rummage through his massive pile of books. Um, uh, but yeah, I mean, David, just kind of, if you don't mind sharing, you know what Metalomics is all about and how we got to this episode where we're talking about Napster and Spotify and all that other fun stuff.
Yeah, all right, let's start. Do you want to start at the very beginning?
Jacob, you good with that?
1985, we were both born.
Yeah.
Um, so I think like let's go back real quick. I think this podcast started essentially because I think the inception is kind of interesting or relevant. We were what debating, semi-debating economics and
Well, David always
at
brings,
Mayhem.
yeah, exactly. We were at Mayhem Fest, and David is always bringing up Milton Friedman. The late economist. He's famed for macro theory, mostly monetary theory.
Okay.
Don't, who do you always bring up? Let's make it fair.
Yeah, Karl Marx. I bring up Karl Marx a lot because
So he's
I'm
an
a
economist, you're saying?
They're
Milton Friedman's he was an
What's
economist,
he thinking of
absolutely.
the current state of the world in the United States right now with what's going on? I would love to hear his point of view.
me too, but he's been dead for
I
like 40
don't want to
years.
get into politics,
Well, he's
guys.
been dead for a long time, so I'll
Oh,
give you
okay.
this. I'll
Gotcha.
give you this though. A lot of people who are in charge right now would probably think he agrees, but he would probably hate it. He was anti-tariff. He was pretty conservative, but he was anti-tariff. He was pro letting the Pintos explode, which is a joke that like one or two Josh got it at least. All right, that's fine. Um, I'm also big on niche jokes. Most of my jokes, like two people get them, but when you get them, they're good. Um, but he was conservative. Worked well. He worked with Reagan even, who I mostly disagree with a lot of
I,
Reaganomics
I
especially.
I believe he was a part of that. Yeah, that
Yeah, the
regime.
Reaganomics thing, which I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
pro that, but also yeah, he would have hated most of this economic stuff without getting too deep into it is pretty bad right now. It's pretty dismal, which is
Yeah,
the word of the
it's
economic
crazy.
game.
What's really going on right now? It's blatantly. I would never picture the United States having so much. It's like a third world country corruption. But I don't want to get into it, guys. And I'm not a Democrat. I am not a
Oh,
Republican.
same. Yeah.
I'm not into politics, but I'm kind of into the truth, and it's kind of impacted my life a little bit. I think it's impacting everyone's lives, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, we don't have to get into that, guys.
I
It's
mean, we'll make it like just like a 2 second point on that.
too.
We talk a lot about economics, but we don't really push politics. We let you guys like we'll let people decide for themselves. Me,
Yeah,
I believe we're in a like since this is a different podcast, I could say more openly. I think this is a kleptocracy. I think the government is stealing from us, and they're also just
greed.
rife with insider trading, just to
Oh,
throw out some numbers that you can't even
manipulating
see.
numbers, you know,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah. It's all a giant. Like if anyone wants
yeah.
to dig down this rabbit hole that's listening, look up kleptocracy. That's
And just be
essentially where I
very
think we are
careful
now.
what you speak because you're going to have Secret Service at your door probably trying to pick you
Oh,
up.
I'm sure, but I'll
It's
just.
turning into Nazi Germany, right? I'm going to be honest with you. This is the last thing I'm going to say about this. So if you watch, our news are being filtered.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so I don't watch our news, and I wanted sometimes I want to keep. I stopped watching the news because I was going down the rabbit hole. So I watch like Al Jazeera or BBC because those guys don't sugarcoat anything
Hmm.
and they give you the truth of what's going on. And then when you put on Fox or NBC and like I think like those companies are being threatened to not broadcast what's really happening. You know what I mean? Right now, the world's in and this comes from a guy who probably is on a scale of 1 to 10, like I'm a 3 in knowledge of politics,
Hmm.
but what's going on right now, it's embarrassing and we're crashing the world economy and it's going to be really tough to recover from this.
Oh yeah.
There's just so much to it. Let's not even talk about it.
Yeah, that's one of the problems with our podcast is sometimes it feels like it's going to go on for 4 hours, so we got to cut it off. That's why we do these two-parters with the Metalomics. Um,
Yeah.
but as Josh was trying to flame me for bringing up Friedman, which is kind of like a meme almost now, especially like I bring up dystopia a lot too. That's kind of a meme. I think so. I'm gonna beat him to it. I'm gonna do the whole like 8 Mile thing, make fun of myself before Josh can. So yeah, I like dystopia. I like Milton Friedman sometimes.
You love when
Um,
I make fun of you.
oh no, I need my head to de-inflate a little bit. So but yeah, so I guess what were we doing back there then? Just talking about politics? I must have been talking about Friedman. I know I was talking
Well,
about Friedman for
well,
something.
I think
You can talk about
Sebastian
whatever you want.
Seb is tapping into something that I bring up quite a bit, and that's the fact that it's very hard to disentangle economic discussion from political discussion.
Hmm.
Correct.
Oh
In
yeah.
the original, like original is probably not the right word, the traditional economics that we get from Adam Smith, who is the Scottish, he wrote a book called Wealth of Nations, published in 1776. Total coincidence with the, publishing or the signing of the Declaration of Independence in the US.
Mhm.
But the study of economics was called political economy. And it was for, I would say, the next 150 years. It wasn't until a group of individuals, academics, scholars decided that, okay, this is more of a numbers game. This whole thing, this political economy, it's more about quantifying things and it's less philosophy and more data science. There was a
Correct.
British economist named Francis Isidro Edgeworth, who he was a mathematician, math wizard, and he really shifted the narrative from things being, this conversation about how politics and economics overlap into just, no, it's the economy. The economy, I say in air quotes, is this separate phenomenon that we're going to study, and we have to, split the two. But in reality, again, Seb, like it just came out naturally. You talk about the economy, you're going to get into politics because of just the way that, you know, the economy works and the way that it overlaps with culture and politics and nature and, class. It's very hard to have an isolated discussion. So I'm on a trek to bring back the term political economy because I don't think it's ever really left. But the origins of Metalomics were just David and I, we kept running into each other at Suicide Silence shows over the years. We'd go hang out. Um, I would watch David drink beer. I don't drink, but David is he enjoys a
I
couple.
drink for the both of us at this
That's
point.
right.
I got to
That's right.
slow down though, but yeah.
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 And always we would start talking about things economics related. And we just were having fun. I don't know. I just every time I see David, I have a blast. We're always having these fun discussions, and at one point, we're like, let's see if we can mesh metal music, heavy music, and economics, and see if we can talk about economic theories, whether it's elasticity or inflation or utility, behavioral economics, but let's do it through a heavy music lens. So,
Well, we can, and I'm going to tell you how because I had to cancel. We were doing 2 dates up in New Jersey, so we're doing 4 dates before we stop to record album number two. So we had 2 dates in New Jersey, and we had 2 dates in Florida. So I did not really. I mean, I'm busy at work. I'm a project manager engineer for a telecommunications company. I do DAS networks.
no kidding.
And I haven't worked since 2023 because I was laid off. I worked for a company named Ericsson out of Sweden. We
Oh
created
yeah.
it's a huge telecommunications. So when I got laid off, I just like did dripping, reinvented myself, did home improvements, whatever, and got by. But then now I got hired back at a corporate job and I was training. So I was like deep in like concentration. So a dude hits me up and he was like, "Hey man, do you want to play the show? It's May 14th." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, we're doing it, whatever." He's like, he sends me half of the guaranteed. We work our details out. And then yesterday I'm looking at the dates and I'm like, okay, we're playing Death Fest on the 17th, but we're playing the 14th, which is a Thursday. And he never told me it was a Thursday.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, Ed lost his flights because Spirit canceled. So that was flights that went in the garbage.
Yeah.
And the economy made it very hard for us to catch a last minute flight and make it work for Thursday because we will planned on getting in on the Thursday afternoon, practicing playing Friday, right? But now, if we're playing Thursday, we like to get in a day early, practice, and play Thursday. So the economy, when we're looking at flight prices, it was kind of somehow engaged to music. And I had to call him and I said, "Look, I have 4 pets. I have to put my pets in a babysitter. And what you're paying us, which is completely promoters are not paying a lot because the attendance got really low because there's no money.
Mm.
I'm not going to say there's no money, but some people just don't have money. The rich have money. So middle class people or lower class just could not afford to go to every show anymore. And it did impact dripping. It impacted our guaranteed and what people are trying to pay you. So in a way, it all impacts it. But who gives a fuck?
Oh,
We don't have to go on it.
that
Yeah.
was that's the clip we're going to use when we promote this episode, Jacob. It's such a good point because
Jet fuel is because the strait is closed. So,
right.
the barrels of petroleum were very high. So jet fuel's at an all-time high. Spirit canceled. There are scrambles all over America to get people on flights. We could not find the flight. My stepson tried flying in last week from Rhode Island, and it was like $880. And it's just like it is impacting the music scene, so to speak, and to the level that our underground music has progressed to, not like a bar scene, which I'm not against playing any of those places, but
Oh,
it's progressed to something bigger, and we're playing, death metal's playing stadiums, guys. Immolation's going on tour playing in stadiums. Cannibal Corpse is playing, and I'm speculating maybe what they make, maybe through some rumors, but those guys are making 60, 70 grand a night, and our music is it's on the up. But it kind of sucks because now the economy is taking a dump and flights are going to be so much more expensive. So um, I had to cancel another show and tell the guy, "Hey, listen, our guaranteed is this, but like if you want us flying there, dude, tickets are expensive. So it's gonna have to be a couple extra grand to come out. And I'd rather just not even do anything until like we record our second album. We're just gonna do what we got." But yeah, to say the least, I think it's impacting everybody. And again, I don't wanna take this into this whole political conversation. Sorry.
Not at all. It's inevitable, and that to us is fun. Like that's what gets my motor going. And I think, not to speak for David, but that's what Metalomics is about, is we want to talk about these links and just the whole discussion is like this big river, and there's all these little tributaries that break off that we can follow and go different places with it. The underground music scene is like the tip of the spear when it comes to the music economy because
Yes.
everything is so fragile right there in the underground. The big labels, like the big, like, well-funded, well-backed, these massive acts that are super
Right.
popular, they can ride the storm, right? And good for them. More power to them. But
And they do ride the storm, but I think that it's, they do ride the storm, but then these it's not as sweet as it looks. And again, I'm not there, so I'm just kind of speculating, and I'm listening to what feedback I've gotten from people being on big tours and being on big labels. And Marauder was on Century Media for so many years. They never received like any money. So it's not as sweet as it looks because I
yeah.
think at the end of your tour, they bill you for like every little penny.
Oh yeah.
So like at the end of the day, like going independent is probably the best, or going with like a label who you can actually, the label that we are going to be going with, the owner is like very sympathetic of what's going on. And he sent us a contract, we redlined it, and we came to like a good agreement to help us out. And again, it's not Relapse Records, it's not Century Media, but he's going to be doing really well because, he means well and he takes care of his people, and that goes a long way.
Totally agree.
But yeah, guys, let me stop with the politics because I have so much on that.
Yeah, with us, our podcast, we don't really touch base on that because I think
Yeah,
Seb and me discuss it in private because he knows how I am with it because I live in the 9 to 5 grind, the corporate slave to the system, as they
so do
say.
I.
But I am the very punk rock ethic in my head, and I keep that stuff in my head for reasons.
But these past couple of months have been really chaotic, I think.
Yeah, especially
Let's
trying to get our
guys,
schedules.
listen, take the floor. I don't want to take the floor. I don't want to turn this into a political debate here.
Oh
Just
yeah, I feel
tell
like
me to shut up.
I feel like when you were talking about the Spotify and everything with that, I feel like the best way for bands to do if they want to make money off of anything anymore is like Seb said, going independent and doing band camp and getting the profits themselves. Because 90% of the time now you can go home, like Seb right now could set up a whole studio in his like place, record everything, get the money himself, and not worry about someone like a big record label saying, "Hey, this is our profit." He gets all the profit, then he could divide it with each member equally.
And things changed a lot, when we started, like recording was like a far-fetched dream, to like and to record a demo, you had to have like it was unaffordable, especially for kids. We were like 21 years old. So we had to like scrape money to record our first few demos. And when we signed with Macabre Mementos, they literally in a box sent us $3,000 cash, like bills. And then so we had a colleague that worked at Fox Studios. Fox Studios is a pretty big studio. They did a lot. They did a lot of R&B in New York City. They did Overkill. And this girl that we knew's boyfriend worked there, and Jimmy was like, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna take care of you." So I was like, "Jimmy, all we got is like $3,500. Can we do an album?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, dude, you can fucking still do an album." We went there, like by the first week, we kind of like burned our time on just cutting drums. So from there, it was kind of like, okay, I recorded ghost guitar, so Bruce can track drums. It was an argument because he was like, "Hey, 35 flat rate," and then he's like, "I'm gonna need more money," and then we're like, where we're gonna get it? We're 22, 23-year-old kids, we don't have any money, and and it was very tough. It was like fighting words, screaming match, and all that. So Bruce came up with some money. He gave him a little extra money from his parents, and he came up to me. He goes, "Listen," and I came out on, I don't know if you guys play an instrument, any one of you. So, when you do ghost tracks, so you can track drums.
Mm-hmm.
So I did an A side of ghost tracks, so the drums could be tracked and the bass could be tracked. And then after the whole argument, he goes, "I'm gonna give you one fucking chance," because we recorded on ADAT on reel to reel. It wasn't digital. He goes, "I'm gonna plug you the fuck in, and you're gonna do track. You're gonna do, the right or left side, whatever it was. You're gonna do track B. You're plugging in. You fuck up, you're out of here." So I had to plug in and play the album from start to finish, and then that was it. And then I walked out of there. I'd never been back. I checked out. Bruce went back. He paid a little more money into mixing out of his own pocket, and then he actually bought the ADATs, which is so awesome to have. When I wish at the time I was checked out, so he's got every dripping ADAT from every song. I don't know if
Oh
you
my
guys
God.
know how ADAT works, but it's a
No.
real. So when you guys hear the dripping album, there is no guitar punch-ins. There is nothing has. So we did ghost tracks, one shot, one kill, just to track drums. He mixed drums. I think Bruce spent a lot of time tracking drums. I think that fucked our money up. And then the B side was the same way. One shot, one kill. That's all you got. And then I remember just packing my guitar after I was done and just leaving. That was the story. And then for me, the biggest thing that I always tell people is like, man, I've never done my masterpiece. I could have never done because Trippin' had so many harmonies, and if it had a good quality recording, it would have been a little different. But it was well received. We're here. We're not there anymore. So again, enough about Dripping. This is your podcast, guys. You lead. I don't want to go.
No, Josh loves it. It reminds him of when he was tracking drums. Tell us about that, Josh.
I don't want to.
Why?
Because I was terrible. It was a bad experience.
Yeah, I mean, I relate though. I was thinking about my Guts. The band I'm in now, Guts, have been around since forever. What, 22 years or something? Before that, there was a band called Hatchet Face, and we were recording on a Tascam with
Oh, I remember those.
4-track.
Four
Yeah,
track, right?
yeah, and it's
So I owned one of those.
yeah, yeah. Those were a trip because it's I don't know, just it's similar, a little easier than what you had to deal with. But I remember going there, and even the first Guts album was actually done on that same 4-track, and it was I remember showing up, and they had all recorded everything without me because I was the only guy with a day job. And this is back in 2003 or four, and they're like, "All right, get your bass, get your vocals, do it all." And it's okay, half the songs I'd only heard played a couple times, and we just went for it. So there's stuff on that first album. There's songs that they didn't have tabs for, they didn't know how to play it anymore, and they're like, just listen to it and then make it up. But at that time, I'd only been playing bass for 3 or 4 years, so now I could probably listen and pick it up a little for the most.
I'm sure you can.
Back in those days, I couldn't. I'm just all right, just make noise. So yeah, there's some pretty bad.
I love those task cams. They were really, really cool just to do little projects at home or listen to yourself. I didn't have one. It was funny. I'd had one. I went to jail and I got out and I was on a bracelet, and a lot of the cadaverman riffs and dripping riffs were wrote when I was on house arrest, and I had a task cam. But then I remember I broke one of the record buttons, because remember you had to press on them,
Oh yeah.
They're digital, so that was the end of that, But
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine who was into glam metal, so we would fuck around, and we had a little demo of and I was already into brutal death metal and stuff like that, but we had a little demo of a glam band, because he was a singer, and then I would hook up my drum machine and I would just do some guitar tracks, and then we would just do a little glam band. But yeah, the Tascam, I broke the button, dude. Once you break something on those things, dude, they're fucking useless, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. But lots changed now, because now when we record, I show up and I DI into some crazy plugin.
Yeah.
Get a million shots. I don't even have to. I could punch in the whole thing. It's crazy. It's crazy how much it's changed in 20 years. So I don't know. I don't know. The question is, does that make it better or worse, right? I feel like some of the stuff I'm doing now isn't as good as what I was doing before, when I had to really work for it. Now I feel like it's kind of cush. But I don't know. That's for
I think that
consumers
it's
to decide.
to what happened to me with the last dripping, because we kind of did it remotely. So, and I tracked at my house the guitars, and Sammy tracked drums at his house, and then we kind of bounced the tracks, and then Devin tracked in his own place. But I think that For us, it really didn't work. I think we lost like who we are. Dripping's always been a band that like we have to be together in the studio. So the next album, that's just kind of how we're gonna take it. Is be together. Obviously, we cannot avoid using the new equipment. The new equipment's gonna be there, you know what I mean? Like it is like, what do you want to do? Record like fucking Elvis Presley with a fucking one microphone in a room
Yeah,
and play? I mean, listen, we have the technology, but what I think with that technology, like we don't use it to like quantize or snap to grid, or we don't even use a metronome. So we still play real music. We don't use triggers in the studio. We only use triggers live. So we try to keep it as human as possible, with the exception that we are recording digital, and which is cool. I'm not saying that there's not going to be any punch-ins, but we still do mic our cabinets. We did mic and DI just in case for a backup, in
Oh
case
yeah.
we need to fix something. But I don't know. It's what we got to use now, right? What are we gonna do? Go back to fucking, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there is a big, like, I'm starting to feel more and more getting away from stuff because as AI and AGI start taking over, I want to get further away from it, right? Like, and this is kind of how, I'm also, I don't want to say accomplished. I'm a pretty decent banjo player also.
Oh,
And
that's
the reason
great.
that came up is because when I was in school for audio production,
Right.
I saw these like they were teaching us how to apply auto tune and how to quantize everything and how to lock. And I was like, what's the exact opposite of this? And I really, I was thinking about it, like go back to just banjo, just play banjo. Like this is old. There was like barely microphones when this was popular, especially the style of banjo I play is really old. So I'm doing the same thing again. It's like round two of that, of like getting away from like all this overproduced quantization when it's not even overproduced by humans. Now it's overproduced by a machine. And so I think there is going to be a big backlash of people wanting to go back to um, more legitimate stuff. And to put it in more context, I don't want to speak for Suicide Silence, especially Josh, and I know Garza, who's not here and can't even corroborate this, but the secret to you guys' success, Josh, right? You guys never use triggers in the studio, right? Or did they under your?
We use triggers live, because
Oh
it's easy.
yeah,
You don't have to deal with the sound man. We never use yeah, we use
yeah,
on
most.
Archaic EP, which came out on Maggot Stomp. We used triggers on that. We recorded that with Derek Roddy. But the first album and the last EP we did with Oshuari Industries and with Devin, we didn't really use triggers. We used live drums, and you don't really need triggers in the studio if you can EQ your fucking kick drums.
Hmm.
You can
Or
make it
just, or
sound.
just don't let them sample replace either, because I've had people wanting to sample replace everything, and it's
Oh
like,
my
dude,
God. Now that you're bringing that up, that's such I love Cynic. And I heard an interview with Paul Masvidal, and I guess they were getting some kind of recording ready, and they heard of a kid who was like a mix engineer.
mm,
And I guess he sent all the Cynic tracks, and then he said you guys know Sean Reinhardt, right? As a drummer, he's one of the fucking most amazing drummers. So the kid actually triggered the drums and kind of lost, because there were like a lot of jazzy and they do a lot of ghost notes, and he kind of lost all the ghost notes. For me, my take on this, I'm not going to mention any bands. There's a lot of bands that are doing stuff in the studio. They're recording at a lower tempo, speeding it up,
Mm.
quantizing, they're snapping to grid. In other words, they'll play the whole song and then they snap to grid with the drums. They make it sound perfect. I don't believe dripping. It works for them, and that's great. I give it power to them. And I listen to a lot of these bands. I listen to it, and when I came back after not playing aggressive music for 20 years, and I was kind of listening to aggressive music to kind of get in the flow of like maybe what I wanted to do. And I got caught up and I'm like, oh my God, these bands sound perfect. I was just kind of like a little insecure. And I'm like, holy shit, like everything's just so advanced. And then like I finally came down to earth and it was like, that's not who we are. We're abstract, you know what I mean? Like we make mistakes on our recording, and we play everything that we play. We don't use a metronome. We have odd time signatures. We have signatures that I don't even know what you want to call them, like we have single note fills, but guys, let's just stop. We're going down the different rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's good. The rabbit holes are where we go. It's the best part.
Yes.
All right,
I
Josh, you
mean,
take over for a while.
sure. I do want to ask you, Seb, during that period when you're post dripping, pre, the revival, what were you doing musically? Were you keeping up on guitar? Were you just focused on work, life? What was going on?
So when Dripping broke up while we were recording the album, I was completely checked out. Bruce was getting, and I love jazz, but I'm not really a jazz player. And now I am playing a lot. I'm teaching myself a lot more jazz than I have been in the past, and I love it. I was never really against jazz, but Bruce's vision was a little bit different than mine. I was kind of like, no, man, like it's just the brutal death metal, but he was listening to a lot of Candiria and a lot of jazz. So we recorded the album and we were completely all checked out. So I was getting into the New York City club scene. I was listening to a lot of electronic music and I was
Hmm.
doing a lot of drugs. So it was like done. So, the album comes out, Drippin' breaks up, whatever the album did, whatever impact. My friend Gutter opened up a Dripping Facebook account and he was making t-shirts. And every once in a while I'll see him and he'll give me like one or two t-shirts of my own band. I mean, these people were like making t-shirts, CDs, like all these different copies. No hate on that. And then what happens, I got into the corporate world. I got a job at Ericsson. I got really into it, so I wasn't playing any music. I was playing music. I was playing like I was playing leads, I was playing like Dokken, but I was not playing anything aggressive. So from there, fast forward to 2021, we moved to Miami. My company transferred
Oh,
me, and around 2023, Mortician was playing Miami. And I get a
hell
call
yeah.
from Will, and Will's like, "Hey, listen, I have you and your wife on the guest list." And again, I was just doing leads. I had like I did like a little hardcore band called Criminal on the World, and I did a black and death metal band, which is what I listen to. I don't listen to brutal death metal. Sort of like Dissection, Swedish death metal style.
Yeah.
And
Hell yeah.
I meet this kid, and my friend Gutter. I don't know if you guys know Gutter. He was smoking weed outside, and there's like a bunch of kids like sitting next to us, and then he's like, "Do you guys know the band Dripping?" And I'm just sitting there, kind of like hiding my face because like there's been times that people came up to me with records, and me and my wife were at a bar, and I autographed records, and because my wife didn't even know I was in the band. My daughter, who's not my wife's not the mother from another previous relationship.
Uh-huh.
I really never talked about it. It's kind of like it was done. I moved on. I worked the corporate
No
world
kidding.
for 20 years. All I did, I still play guitar and I still play like bluesy, Dokken, heavy metal stuff, Queensryche. And then Gutter's like, "Hey, you guys ever hear of a band named Drippin'?" And the kid's eyes lit up and he goes, "Yeah, they're my favorite band." And then
That's so great.
girlfriend's like, that's his favorite band. So to make a long story short, Gutter's like, "Well, he's the founder guitarist of Dripping." And I was like, "Oh God, here we go." So the kid's like, "Hey, would you ever consider getting it back together?" I'm just fast tracking the story. I said, "No, no, 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 never. It's done." He's like, "Well, how about?" And then I was like, "All right, listen, dude. If you can play Escape into Orbital Infinity, come to my house, show me you can play. I'll consider it." Comes over to my house, he plays it, and then he's like, "Listen, I'm in a band named Blood Tide. We want to lend you all our members to get Dripping back together."
Oh my God, so cool.
Yeah.
Hell yes.
So that's kind of how it started again.
That's awesome, man. If I could ask, when you got into project management, telecom, you said that's
Yeah.
the industry you're in. Were you getting specialized training for that, or you just get into the field and learn as you go?
So I started with I was an auto mechanic and I wasn't making a lot of money. and I was dating this stripper, and I went to pick her up at work, and then there was a dude picking up his girlfriend who was a stripper. Well, this guy wound up becoming one of my friends. Kind of sitting there having a beer like before my girl got ready or whatever to leave the club because I wasn't hanging out there. And I think I was complaining about how much I made. I was an auto mechanic and I was like, I'm fucking not making any fucking money, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, let me ask you something. Are you afraid of heights? I was like, I don't know, maybe. He's like, well, listen, I build cell towers, I'm telecommunications, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, if you want a job, I can pay you. Just be at this street at 9 o'clock with whatever tools you can have, and you have a job. So I took a job with him. From there, I dove more in the technical aspect of things. And then from being a technician in the field, I kind of climbed my ranks from construction manager to project manager to doing some engineering work. And that's how it all became, you know.
That is so cool. I love that story. And I love that, you know, you started, I mean, I don't mean this pejoratively, but at the bottom, right? Where you just got
Oh,
in.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Listen, I mean, my first day was probably cleaning garbage. But my I had a background in auto mechanic and electric, and then so the boss was kind of like seeing that, like, so he started showing me how to use like spectrum analyzers, and I was just picking it up. I was like, okay, yeah, I could do this, like, and then that's how he started pushing me to do other things than just being like a grunt or a field guy. And then from there, left that company, moved to a bigger company, and then it was just sky's the limit from there, you know.
I love it. I'm going to go ahead and proffer to say that you're popular amongst your colleagues because you actually know your shit, because you've seen everything from the grunt work to the engineering side. And no shade on people that go a different route, but like I've met a lot of, project managers, superintendents who really struggle with architects because they don't seem to have a practical knowledge a lot of the times. They have a theoretical knowledge and they butt heads a lot. I don't know if David, not to put you on the spot, but David is a veteran of the armed forces, and I wonder if you have an experience. I mean, even in the corporate world, you've had so many, you followed a certain career path. If you relate to that at all,
Me as a grunt?
I didn't
I
call you a
was a
grunt.
grunt in Iraq.
Yeah,
Um, I was actually thinking about you because you are the director of school lunches and you were a line cook at one part. So you started at the bottom to the director of school lunches.
that's
I'm gonna kick it
true.
back to you. What's the path of making tacos at Ancho's to now directing school lunches?
You keep deflecting, David. We have to work
No,
on that.
I feel like we're just not giving you a time to talk, and then when you do talk, you just you're giving everyone their roses or whatever you said earlier. So I want to give you yours.
Thank you,
Um,
David. It's flowers, but I'll take roses.
Roses, flowers, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, for me, it is interesting because my path was, yeah, from the army to tattooing to audio to like now I'm a marketing like director, and everyone's like, I feel like people think like, oh, you just decided you want to do marketing one day, but I read every one single one of these books. I put my time in. But yeah, no, I think it's a lot different, especially now. Now I am running the marketing for a West Coast pawn shop chain, and I am like the one guy essentially.
Nice.
So it's like a one man team, which is cool, pretty metal, in a pawn shop, in so my opinion. In fact, the other day we got a Boss Hyper Metal pedal, and I was like, wow, this pedal
Nice.
sucks, but I want to buy it. But some other kid bought it before me. It's the weirdest sounding pedal, but I like weird pedals, so I really wanted to buy it. But sometimes, I have multiple shops, so I miss things. Kids come in and buy stuff before me, which I'm trying to stoke that fire actually. One of my things is in marketing now of this pawn shop chain, and they're like from LA into Arizona. Um, they kind of forgot about the music scene, and they're kind of like more catered to like jewelry and handbags, especially in the California markets. And I'm trying to remind them like a huge market for pawn shops is musicians because some of these guitars that these like rich assholes bought because they wanted to play their favorite band and they sell it off for they don't even care, they just need to clear out space. That's the stuff we all learned on. Like I had to go in and like learn on some of this, buy these guitars, who knows, or pedals. Some of these guys buy these super nice pedals because they heard their favorite guy uses it, and then they realize they can't figure it out, and they sell it for a good price to a pawn shop or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you get a great deal on like a Proco rat you could buy for $20, because no one even knows what it is anymore. But I mean, I don't know. I think like that will hopefully work like in tandem with as heavy music is going through this like resurgence. I feel like heavy music, has like these like dips and compressions
Yeah.
and refractions, to use an audio term. And it's like hopefully we're going through another like peak where it's gonna get big again. And we could even see that through deathcore, right? What do they call it? The third wave of deathcore. I feel like that's almost like matched up now. So I don't know. Let's all hope that we make some money on it.
Like the way it looks like now, like especially talking to a lot of the revival bands, like your Nine Dead, your Reverent, Psycho Frame, Girl of Glass. Like I think I sat and talked to the vocalist of Corpse Bio, who's the vocalist of Girl of Glass. I was talking to him and I was like, what's your intake on the resurgence? He's all like this. Lorna popped it off originally for deathcore again for everybody in the scene. Then everybody picked up the wave, if that makes sense.
Mm.
And like if you look at it, like Josh, for example, look at Suicide Silence. Your guys' EP is like one of the biggest EPs out in the world now to 16-year-olds again.
Wow.
First wave.
Like my brother like goes up to me and I was like he's like, you got any interviews coming? I was like, we're doing one on Saturday. It's not really an interview. We're just all pretty much, this is all here for us to bullshit. He's like, oh yeah, with who? And I was like, the second drummer from Suicide Silence. He's like, what? He's like, I was like, yeah, my little brother's like, I want to be there. I was like, that sucks for you. That's growing up, like I knew who Suicide Silence was because you guys like Suicide Silence was in the Hot Topic.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I remember like picking up No Time to Bleed, putting on the headphones, and like showing my dad, can I get this? Like my mom and dad would always shop like back to school shopping, and my dad was like the metalhead who's like, yeah, get that CD. My mom, oh, we're not getting something that cusses. And I remember like because like we're in a resurgence for music, for heavy music in general. Like you see your 14, 15, 16-year-old kids doing covers of stuff we all like you guys recorded back in the day. Like I seen a 12-year-old the other day that shout out to Don from Waking the Cadaver. He shared a 12-year-old doing a cover of Chased by the Woods by a Rapist, a 12-year-old. And it's absolutely insane thinking like the resurgence we're going through right now because kids are wanting that heavy music. I don't work with any of those kids. I wish I did because half the kids I work with listen to rap, R&B, and all that. I'm just like, this makes no sense at all. But like, I have my little brother who literally on Friday night, that was the best night of my life. Freaking, we went to go see the Acacia Strain, the Black Diamond Murder, Corpse File, and Disembodied Tyrant.
Oh my
My
God.
little brother literally
love Disembodied Tyrant.
Wrapped arms together. He literally got the mic from Vincent and screamed into Beast, then hopped over the barricade, and Vincent wrapped his arm around him, and he got to do vocals with Vincent Bennett from the Acacia Strain for a hot minute.
That's amazing. How cool, man.
Like I was like this, like I was like, part of me was like, that's my favorite band, and it's his favorite band. So I was like, I'm gonna let you have this moment, but when we go see him in Des Moines, I'm beating your ass in the pit.
Spoken like a true older brother. Good for you.
And I tell everybody like we need these revival bands because like deathcore for a while, let's be real, deathcore after I would say 2012, it died a little bit. And like I do a lot of music history. I watch a lot of documentaries about the hardcore scene. That's how I found Seb. I've like besides him hitting me up on TikTok, I love you for that because you're the best partner this podcast has ever had, and I love you to the day I die.
Flowers all around.
That's sweet.
And I remember like sitting there and I was watching documentary. I sit here and my fiance hates it sometimes because I'll sit here and she wants to watch Grey's Anatomy, but I'm like this. No, we're gonna watch a 2.5 hour documentary about the old hardcore race from New York City all the way to Cali. And like shout out to Brutality Podcast. Those guys are definitely doing something like the revival scene, especially Giannis. Giannis is making sure every band from the deathcore scene is known and made sure it's known. Like I definitely feel like all the bands we've had recently definitely do respect their get their flowers because like the Acacia Strain, like Vincent says, he's been doing this 20 plus years. They're mid-tier band. If you look at their shows and like when they do like videos, that is like as much as he doesn't want to admit it, they sell at venue after venue because everybody loves that feeling of a MySpace band still around, still kicking. That's why we got the red chord, like Suicide Silence. I remember the first time I met Garza. I was
That's so
blown
funny.
away.
My MySpace band. It's so funny to hear you say that.
Yes.
Like you guys, like I was only 13 and I remember finding Suicide Silence on MySpace.
Yeah.
And I'm 31 now. And it freaks me out sometimes, some of the musicians that we meet. Because like, oh, where'd it go? Where'd it go? 1 second. Darn it, son. Like all the musicians we gotta meet. Like I've never thought in my wildest dream I would meet Eddie from All Shall Perish and like talk with him for a little bit. I never thought it was gonna be possible. Like when I seen Carnifex, they gave like a shout out to my hometown when they played a venue 45 minutes away.
Oh, no kidding.
And I'm just like, this is absolutely crazy because like these revival bands are bringing deathcore back where it needs to be, back on top. Because kids need, if you look at lyrics, sorry, I'm ranting too.
Go for it.
If you
Yeah,
look at lyrics nowadays for deathcore bands, brutal death metal bands, any of it, it's talking about real life situations. Then you put on your country, your rap, your hip hop. Country talks about heartbreak, getting drunk, and getting messed up, which our parents grew up with Wayne Newton that we're talking about real life back in the day.
Wayne Newton.
Then
Such a good
freaking
reference.
then like the rap now, it's not about like when NWA, Ice Cube, Tupac, they were trying to pass a message back in the day. Now it's all about like, oh, I'm gonna beat this woman up. It's like kids are coming to the norm to that, which is not okay. And kids need to know there's real music that people actually want to put out and have them feel something. Because when we hear certain lyrics, it's supposed to hit your heart in a certain motion. Like I think, like every time, have you seen the Acacia Strain in the last 2 to 3 years?
No. Yes, I have. I lied.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I haven't seen him.
they played Riverside a couple years ago with, oh my God, I
Wait,
think they
who?
might,
Because I might have been at that show then.
you probably were there. I think Suicide Silence played.
Is that that one where me and
Um,
you sat there and we were like, all right, we're old, man. We got to go home.
yeah, that might have been it. But yeah, I have seen them in the last couple years.
But
Uh,
if you look on TikTok, Vincent's speeches hit home to these kids now
Mm.
because like kids need something like we're in a dark road sometimes. We've lost too many people in the heavy music industry to so much. Kids need to know those guys did something. They passed a message and wanted to carry on their legacy.
mhm.
And like I look up to Trevor Sturnad, for example. I listened to his interview and that hit home for me because like it was a little emotional for me because I like listened to it and then like all you hear is literally him and I'm not throwing shade or anything, him literally writing his suicide note. Then like 2 weeks later, we got him gone. He was taking endorphins to be happy.
Yeah, sure, go grab it.
Sorry, that was my rant.
That's brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. I appreciate your message, though. I think in anything that we do, because the majority of us, and I mean the broader, well, I'll try to keep it, specific to heavy music. The folks who participate either as a fan or as a musician or somebody that, promotes like you do a lot of stuff for this community. It's mostly done out of passion. It's, call it a hobby, call it extracurricular, whatever you want. But like you said, you've got a 9 to 5. We've all got 9 to 5s here. And so when that becomes your outlet, either as a consumer or to put stuff into the world, if it's filled with meaning and it's got emotion behind it, it's gonna do the trick, right? It becomes somewhat of an opiate, but not, maybe that's the wrong word. That's too like synthetic, but it becomes joyous. It fills you with what you need to balance out all of the tension that's built up from all the things we struggle with as humans, right? And whether that be working a 9 to 5 that forces you to, well, it doesn't force you to do anything, but you do things that are maybe counter to your values or, your relationships that you're maintaining or politics or the environment, climate change or geopolitical struggle. It's a lot to deal with, especially when we have a tiny little window. This is nuts, guys. I mean, like, this is seriously insane. It's like we're walking around in our pockets with a television that's always on, and there are a billion channels, and we can know so much about everything that's happening all at once. It's quite overwhelming. So, to your point, the youth,
We're walking around with something that's controlling us.
sure, absolutely, in ways we probably don't even recognize. And I'll speak for myself. There's probably things, habits I've picked up that have been programmed, not like deliberately, like necessarily, but through my consumption habits, there are algorithms that
Correct.
essentially push me into one direction, whether it be products or decisions and so
Yeah.
on. It's crazy to think that, like, what, how old's your brother, Jacob? You said he's 16?
He's 16.
Isn't that crazy that he was born in 2010, right? Around there, right? So just
Down
doing the
there, yeah.
math. He's never been in a world that didn't have the smartphone, right? Because the smartphone came out in what, 2008, right? Like right
Yep.
before that.
Yep.
He's never known a world without it, right? Totally different from us who were either born in the 70s, the 80s. It's fascinating. I think we're living in a very fascinating time. I wanted, you mentioned the acacia strain. Fun story. I don't know if I've told this before. I probably have. Suicide Silence, if it not for the acacia strain, we've good chance we wouldn't have gone on the trajectory we went on. So we played with Acacia Strain in 2004 or 2005, right around there, in Corona, California, a famous venue now shut down called the Showcase Theater. And Acacia Strain was coming through, and their label at the time, they had a guy named Jerry who went on to, he was like their, I don't think he was their manager. I think he was like their A&R guy, but
Hmm.
I think he worked for their label. And he saw us play that show. Like we played, I think we opened, and then Casey Strain either headlined or played, co-headline, second to last. And Jerry came up to us afterwards, and he was really high on Mitch. He really loved his performance. He liked everybody's stage presence. And yeah, if not for sharing that show and having bands like Acacia Strain come through that we could jump on and kind of fit in with, Suicide Silence might not have been as successful. So shout out to Vincent for doing that.
That's
Well, yeah,
great, man.
if you
That's
look
great.
at it, every tour they've done recently in the last 10 years, and I've heard this in an interview with Vincent from Hardlore. Shout out to those boys,
Mm.
because those boys definitely know how their stuff. And rest in peace, Bo.
Yeah.
Uh, if you look at what Vincent said in that, they're signed to Rise Records. Vincent, they tell them they have to tour a band with A, B, and C. But Vincent's been around a long enough time now. He's not like this. No, if you want us to headline, we get to choose the bands because he feels like every band deserves their shot.
That's so cool.
And
I
like
love
if
it.
you look at like bands like Orthodox, uh, The School of Grind, what's another band he loved? He took on tour. No Cure. These bands, Vincent found and said, "I'm taking them on tour with us. No buts, ifs, or nothing. You can go ahead and find us for whatever, but I want these kids to know there's other bands exactly out in this world that need to be known." I have like 5 tour posters of the Acacia Strain with different lineups because Vincent decides who they go on tour with. And if it's not Vincent deciding, like he chooses the 2 openers for the show if they're not headlining. And a lot of people don't know that.
Interesting.
Like Seb, I love Seb to death. I'm gonna push this man to the heights Dripping needs to be. Because like he says all the time, they're a legacy band. They are that band that influenced you guys. And I promise you, Seb, there's more bands out there. My little brother keeps trying to take my Dripping shirt every time he sees me.
I gotta send him one.
Like legitly, Seb, like
Tell
without
me the
Seb,
size. I'll send you another one, and I'll send him one.
I haven't told a lot of people this. Without Seb, I talked to my fiance in private, and I'm gonna say this now. Without Seb, I would have called the podcast quits because I was literally in a rabbit hole. I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. She's like, what do you mean? I was all like this. I'm going to shows, pushing myself to the extreme. I literally, I think 2023, 24, I went to 86 shows, pushing my own self to a new height to get like musician A, like, hey, I have a podcast. And then all I would hear back is, cool, hit me up on Instagram. I would hit him up on Instagram. 2 seconds later, nothing. I'm just like this, cool. And I'm just like this. And I just kept doing it. And I was like this, like beginning of this year, I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing it. And she's like, don't give up. I was like, I think I'm going to call it quits. Then Seb, I texted Seb. He's like, hey, I can get shout out to Marauder. I love Jorge. Every time he's on live, I give him shit. He's like this. I always get love from him now. And I love Jorge. But like without Seb, this podcast would have died. Like we connect in a level I haven't felt connected with a co-host in a long, long time. Seb is like my big brother that I've been looking for the rest of my life. And I don't have many people I call my big brothers because I have an inner circle. Seb, you've seen the pictures of me at shows with
Yeah,
my
yeah.
dad.
Well, I appreciate it. Likewise, man. Likewise.
Like we are gonna carry this legacy to the day we both die, probably. Like I tell everybody in every interview, when I have kids, they're gonna know Seb as Uncle Seb. They're gonna be excited to see Uncle Seb.
It. I appreciate it. I always wanted to do a podcast, but I didn't really want to start it from the ground because I feel like I could bullshit a lot. I could sit here and talk. And there are a lot of bands that I was passionate about, and I felt like some bands I knew, but some bands I just kind of take a shot at it, you know what I mean? Being trained in the corporate world to deal with your customer, I can kind of finagle like my communication, you know what I mean? So we just kind of make it work. And I know we lack a little bit of PR. We need like a little bit of more publicity, but him and I both work full-time jobs.
Yeah.
I think we have something good going for and Jacob's built this. I mean, from the ground up. It's his, I'm the co-host, but I'm very thankful to be here because I wanted to do a podcast, but I'm like, what am I going to start a podcast from the ground? And then for some reason I was like, hey, listen, I was just with Marauder FYA, they want to do an interview. And he was like, okay, cool. I was like, but listen, if I get Marauder, I'm going to co-host the interview with you. And then it was like mind reading because Jacob's like, why don't you just co-host the podcast with me for good? I'm like, okay, I'm down. And then we kind of just did it like that. I mean, we could be a little more organized. But again, it's working, and like we're doing what we are at where we're supposed to be in the universe. I don't have any complaints, and we're just gonna keep chugging along, trying to get everybody together, right, to listen, because it's just pretty much information. We're able to give people who don't have access to going to these shows and talking to these bands just kind of like an insight on what these people are like, right? And to some people they're their heroes, and then you just come to find out that everybody's just a normal person like you and I, and we all have problems and we all deal with struggles, and that's the cool thing about it, right? Like when you get to talk to somebody that you put on a pedestal, and then you're like, holy shit, I didn't know that you're dealing with that, and I'm dealing with this too, and it's a cool thing, just to get and build our community. And I think that what's going on now, I know death metal, I can't really speak for metalcore and hardcore because I skipped that generation and I know very little of it, and I support it. I think it's great. I don't knock it. If you're doing what you're happy doing, that's all that matters, because at the end of the day, you got to make yourself happy. Um, but I think that there is a little bit of competition, which it's competition's good, but we're diving into a perception thing, right? And I think when you get people on the podcast, you get away from all the perception. You get to talk to them one on one, you know what I mean? And it's not that picture at like this great show that you played, and you get to talk to them about a shitty show and when things went sideways and all that, you know what I mean? Because what gets posted on the gram and on Facebook, it's most of the good stuff, and it's just it's good to pick people's brains that are in a passionate music that I love.
I just wanted to let you know, Seb, freaking the Bayway interview is about to be lit. I just looked at it. We're sitting at 8,000 views.
Yeah, that's coming up tonight, right?
Yeah, that's at
You
here
know
in
I
a
get
half
up
hour.
super early. You know I get up super early to go to the gym. I'm like trying to find. I'm gonna have to drink a cup of coffee to stay up that late.
What time are you in the gym, Seb?
Listen, literally, our schedule sucks because Jacob will text me at 8 o'clock my time, which is Eastern Standard Time, and he doesn't get a response. I have a really weird sleeping schedule. I have a terrible sleeping schedule. Well, I try to be at the gym at 5 when I can make it, but lately I've been kind of slacking because I'm just going through some personal issues. I'm just going through a little bit of my own stuff right now, that I'm trying to see out of it. And he'll text me, and I open my phone because it's on silent, and then I wake up at 4:30, and like that we have like the weirdest communication times. He'll text at 9 p.m. I respond back anywhere from like 4:30 to 6 a.m. And then we somehow catch each other on the phone at 7 a.m. my time, 6 a.m. his, or 8 o'clock my time, seven his, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I'm like during the week, like I'm just kind of like on Netflix, bed, phones on silent. I'm done. I got everybody that I need. I have my wife, I have my pets, and I know my daughter is safe, and where she lives and all that. So it's kind of like I just kind of shut it down.
Seb, I gotta ask. I've got 5 cats myself. I hear you got
Oh,
3 cats, 2 dogs. What are their names?
so we have two pit bulls. One of them is Roxy, the other one's Stormy. Um, and then I've never been a cat person. My wife had a cat, Mickey. He was horrible. He was the meanest cat in the world. I rewind back to maybe when I was 11. We moved to a condo and we could not keep the one and only cat that I ever got when I was a little kid. We gave him to my uncle. My uncle hate. I come from a family that they think cats are like dirty and filth, and they're like rats. They carry diseases. Like if you talk to my mother and my sister, who's very intelligent in the medical field, she would tell you this. So there goes my journey in thinking about cats, and I'm just like, oh, this fucking, my uncle's cat. My uncle told me the cat run away, but I think he opened the window and let him out. And then now I meet my wife, about 10 years ago, and she had this cat, Mickey, who was fucking horrible, man. Like this guy was just very mean. And then we get another cat. It's called Little Cat, and this little cat was fucking clawing the furniture or whatever. Make a long story short, one day we let him out, he never came back. So that was just like, you know what? Fuck cats. I don't like cats. And in my neighborhood, they had a building. They tore it down, and there's about this community has colonies of homeless cat in Miami. They're all over the place. So we would walk the dogs, and we go by the corner of the abandoned building, which slowly became rubble and became wood. And there was this little girl. Well, she's not little. She's an older cat. She's like about 12, and she would always let me pet her.
Hmm.
So one day, to make a long story short, it was raining. I had a few drinks, and I just bring her home.
Hell yes.
So from there, I mean, she had her hair was mated. We
Oh.
took her to the bed. She almost died on us, which was the most traumatic thing because I got attached to her so much. I've never known a relationship with a cat could be so loving. I never knew that they were like that. I'm a dog person.
Mhm.
So she's like my baby. And then we keep walking by this corner, and then there was this other guy named Blackie who was in terrible shape, near death. So then we take him to the vet now. So we have Blackie, and then we have Collie. Um, so yeah, we have 2 cats and 2 dogs.
2 and 2. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Seb. I appreciate it.
I love cats. I would get so many more now. The the way they are, how smart they are, their personalities. Like a dog's gonna come up to you and be like, ah, and he's just not gonna leave. You know what I mean? But a cat has his own personality. When they want to come up to you, they come up to you. When they don't, they don't. You know, lately this week, I've been on shitty sleep. She comes, jumps on my bed, and she bumps me. She wants me to feed her at 1:30.
Oh,
You know, so but yeah, that's my story with cats.
God bless you, Seb. I appreciate you sharing that, man. And
Thank
it's
you.
funny because like you mentioned you're an introvert and cats, I think all their personalities are different, like humans, like dogs and other animals, but on the
Yep.
whole, like it just you got to get to know them and they perceive you, they observe you, and then eventually like they'll come and they'll reveal themselves to you.
Oh
But
yeah.
like any relationship, it just takes time. And there are some
Yeah, it took a
people,
while. It took a while for her to be Blackie's still a little skittish. I don't think he ever lived in a home.
mm,
And he's getting better. He's getting better. We're getting him treatment. But no, yeah, that's so true about cats. Very smart.
I hate to cut this interview short, but we got a half hour till our next one.
Yeah.
We got a half hour till the next one.
Yes, sir.
you guys need a lunch break
Yeah, lunch break.
or a dinner break. You guys are ahead of us. So we're
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
do let's do 10 minutes of closing statements, Jacob, and I'm cool.
I really appreciate you guys doing this for us. Like, we'll definitely plug you guys up. Um, we're slowly getting our fan base up. If you guys notice, I'm starting to post like tours, kids should check out, all that jazz, all the fun stuff, because like music celebrated all over the United States now. And here soon, we're all going to be like, I'm going to be an old, decrepit old man eventually and freaking be like this. I remember that time when I was talking, and we all got to love it because next year we're both going to have to save up. I haven't told a lot of people, but next year, me and hopefully Sub can come out. We're going to Germany.
nice.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing Death Open Air in Germany. We're going to be doing a lot of coverage. So get ready for that. We got that cooking. We got a few more guests in the books coming. I can't say anything right now because some of them I'm working out details with, and I got to send Subway so he can like, oh, it's musician A, so he gets to know him. But like I said, it was definitely an honor to talk to you guys, and keep doing what you're doing. Don't give up on the podcast. You,
Yeah.
like I love Garza to death. Next time you see Garza, tell him we're coming for him next.
It's so weird how I found Garza. Because I had nothing to do one day. So when I'm working, it was my other job, and I would put my personal computer, not my work computer, and I would just watch podcasts. And like I watched, he had like Glenn from DSI, and I'm listening to this kid. I'm like, yeah, this kid's cool, man. He's like kind of like one of us, you know. He's not like he's not too technical how he gets into it. He's just kind of like just going with the flow, bullshit, and he's humble. He's not like trying to sound super intelligent or anything like that, you know, and he asked the right questions. So I kind of watched them, then I watched the Dying Fetus interview, and then I think I watched a couple more. And I was like, wow, that's so awesome, man. And so I would always like, I think then he had Devourment, and you know, I'm friends with Ruben.
So
And I'm
cool.
like, I write to him, I said, if you like Devourment, you should check out Dripping or whatever. But I don't know. And I know he does a lot of his stuff, and we play at LA. I know he does a lot of his stuff like face to face. I don't think he does remote,
Only face to face, yeah.
yeah, Zoom meetings and stuff. But like, oh, guys, listen, I appreciate your time. Thank you. Sorry for the political rants. Sorry for the stupid
No,
rants.
please.
We don't want to. We wanted to make this about your podcast. I am leaving you guys my phone number on the chat. Do
Cool.
me a favor, text me your address, your size, and I will get you guys a dripping CD and a shirt. And if you guys know what Garza's size is, send me. I will send him a shirt and one of our latest anthology albums. It's the old release, but it's a collector's. They made 100 of these and they're not coming out. I'm holding on to these. I'm not selling them probably for like 5 years. I got that and I got like 12 red vinyl lost archives that I'm probably going to hold on for like another 5 or 10 years. I'm not in a rush to sell them. I don't need the money. But again, I'm putting my number on the chat. Shoot me a text with your size, your address, and stuff like that. And I'll send Garza as well if you guys see him a t-shirt and a CD. And it was a
Absolutely.
pleasure meeting you guys, man.
Likewise.
Thank you,
Earlier,
boss.
Let's do it again, man. Let's do it again.
please, dude, let's do it again. And let's like if you something crosses your mind, like economics, politics, metal, like write it down. Let's get into it. Because again, it's politics. I think if we think of it this way, it's not, people versus people, it's people versus the issue. And we're trying to interrogate the issue and talk about the issue and, disagree. And at the end of the day, still love each other for it. Um, Earlier, I was texting with Garza, and he's stoked that he's going to be getting dripping merch. So when you said earlier that, um, he seems like one of us, it's because of dripping, devourment, discourse. Like that's what he came up with, and I, by extension, came up with. So yeah, man, I don't think it's a stretch to say without dripping, like Suicide Silence wouldn't even be a thing. Appreciate you, Seb. This has been an honor. Such a blast being able to just
Thank you
engage
so
with
much.
you,
It's
chat.
an honor for me as well. Hey,
Appreciate
listen,
it.
to change the subject real quick. I want you to look up this historian, okay? And he majors in Islamic history as well. He's an American guy. He taught in the University of Austin. He's a great this dude is smart in economics and everything. I'm gonna text you his name when you
Okay,
have
text me his
some
name.
time. Look him up on Google. I'm sorry, look him up on YouTube and watch some of his videos. Okay, so it's Dr. Roy Casagrande. Look him up.
Oh, dude, loved
Yeah.
Ray.
Oh, you do? Okay,
All the
well, that's
time.
my guy. That's my guy.
Yeah, we
Oh,
love.
okay,
Yeah,
great. All
Roy
right.
Casagrande is not
We're on the
only.
same we're on the same page, man.
Oh yeah, we're on the
All right,
same
man.
page,
Listen,
man.
my number's there. Shoot me a text, your address, your size,
Will do.
and both you guys and whatever Garza size and text, and I guess I'll
Start
share
the extra small.
you. All right.
Yeah, extra small.
Thanks, guys.
Jacob, appreciate
Thanks.
you,
Nice
Jacob.
talking to you
Keep
guys.
up the good work, Jacob. Keep it up, man. Like I love your passion. I love your enthusiasm. You're doing good stuff. And if you have dark days, bad days, just know that, it won't last. And you got friends, you got community. Hit me up. Hit up David. Appreciate you letting us just chat with you. This was a blast. Keep up the good work, Jacob. You're doing good stuff, buddy.
Oh, I'm
Oh.
trying.
Sounds good, man. Jacob, I'm gonna use the right.
The Wild Man.